Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Vose, Profits Unlimited, coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky. Yes, indeedy. Oh, my goodness. We have a great day underway. It is hot, but hey, it's not raining. It's not raining. So we're still in the giving it a good check for it's not raining department. But I will say that you can certainly tell we haven't had any precipitation for a few days now, as far as the lawn's responses are going. So, I mean, even though we've had a ton of rain, it can't hold that much, in reserve, if you will. So we're beginning to look a little bit dry and whatnot. So we actually even put out a watering thing out to all of our customers, not just the ones we've done all the landscaping for this spring, but just in general that, hey, think about your plants kind of thing. So, hey, we got a great show planned today. Looking forward to you guys getting involved with me as always. And I'm sure we got a lot of opportunities to get y'all's input and see what in the world's going on in your all's world. But for us at WLS, we got out and about, started a little bit early due to the heat, and hopefully get done a little bit early and give everybody a little bit of break. So we certainly don't want anybody falling out. We'll talk about that just a little bit, but we're not going to make it a whole show about heat moving forward. It's summer. It's going to be hot. That's the reality of it. So a little bit hot way to start the summer, if you will. Just the, we just went from hardly any heat at all to blazing, pretty good 105 plus in heat index. And I think we're going to 96 today. So yeah, just from decent and a lot of rain to just off the hook hot. So, but anyway, like we always say, man, you guys know it. I'm not telling y'all anything new. It's, Mother Nature drives the bus, man. We're just sitting here and going for the ride. But we have had a couple showers around us a little bit last couple at late afternoons. Eastern part of our county actually had a little over an inch of rain yesterday. So we didn't get anything. We didn't get anything. Still watering the flowers on the deck by hand when we get home every day. So uh, that's all right, though. That's all right. I'd rather water the flowers than to be sitting here crying to you about having too much rain. But hey, I hope you guys are having a great week. It's hump day. Can y'all believe it? Oh my gosh, I can't. I mean, it's really hard to believe that we're already, halfway through the week. And, tomorrow will be Thursday. We'll be talking about what in the world we're doing Friday and the weekend. And one thing leads to the next, and just the days and weeks are zooming on by. We'll be into next week, be into July. It's hard to believe it, isn't it? Be Christmas in July. My sister Sherry was actually telling me last night that, gosh, what did Katie, daggone it, trying to think. Hallmark. The Hallmark Channel is actually starting their Christmas in July stuff. So she was watching a Christmas show last night. So I haven't gotten that far with it yet, but I'm curious what you guys are into today. We're doing a little bit of everything, getting our lawn applications in early, obviously with the heat, and we have noticed that weeds are coming on pretty daggone good. I mean, weeds are coming on pretty good in yards. And so be sure to stay on top of those. We actually got truck out today doing bed maintenance, which is generally a couple day a week thing for us. But yeah, beds are beginning to get a little bit weedy. Not too bad, not too bad, but you can certainly tell when it gets hot and dry. From the turf standpoint as well, the grass will slow down, but the weeds are rocking and rolling. So things stand out like a sore thumb. So, but yeah, we're into a little bit of everything today, little mowing, little landscape work, a little bit of bed maintenance, and a lot of lawn applications early on. And we'll probably wrap those up by 1 o'clock, I'd say 1:30 something. Just it's all temperature dependent, but do what we can do, right? That's all we can do. So stay safe out there. Stay safe. Kyle decided he's going to run from the heat for a little bit. He's going to Glacier National Park tonight. I think they're flying out, him and his family. Actually, they're going for a real reason, not just to beat the heat. His wife Leslie, my daughter-in-law, she's going to run a mini uh, marathon out there Saturday, I suppose, this weekend, and she's going out there. And it was funny. Kyle was talking about. He said, "Man, the place doesn't even have air conditioning, but it's like they don't need it." I think tomorrow their high's like 69. I think Kyle said or something, where they're going, and the warmest it's going to be is 80. And that's next Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday. So but anyways, they're going to go out for a few days and have a little bit of family time. So hope they enjoy that and have a safe flight out. They're, like I said, leaving here in a little bit, but be flying out this evening and getting in there late tonight and going to Montana, I think, is where they're going, and enjoying that cool weather. So I'm sure he'll send us a picture of some snow somewhere up on the mountain. So, because I know Brett was talking about snow in Glacier National Park this week. So I don't know if it'd be down to the level where they're at, but I'm sure they'll probably be seeing some for sure. So, Kyle, hope you guys have a good time with that. I do also want to give my buddy Smoking Joe, if by chance you're listening to us here today on Turf's Up, a big shout out. He was going up to Cincinnati. I believe it was Cincinnati today with his daughter to check on some medical advice. So, Joe, I hope that went well and hope they're able to help out with that situation for you guys. And I'm sure he would appreciate any prayers that you guys may be willing to send out and send their way. I know it certainly helped Eric's mom, what y'all did. So sending your prayers her way. Eric was talking about his mom going to probably be leaving the hospital today or tomorrow. So if you didn't hear Eric Jones talk about that this morning, looks like his mom's doing a little bit better. So, hey, little divine intervention never hurt. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that for sure, for sure. And one more shout out before we get into it, and that's my buddy John Stuber's loving his new lawnmower he got. He said his back's not hurting anymore. He's finally got something he can ride on that doesn't beat him up. So I thought of that today when I was listening to Aaron Walls this morning talk about getting jolted and bolted around on a piece of equipment. So, yeah, John said his back's not hurting now. So it was well worth the investment in that Ferris lawnmower. So he's enjoying that nice ride and getting his grass cut. And he running his dog kennel business as well. So I wonder if he walks his dogs with it, like hook a dog or two, to him and give him a little when it's this hot. Because I know he does like to exercise anybody's dog that's there. So I'm trying to wonder if he's figured out an automated way of making that happen. So I don't know, John, if you're listening, let me know. Let me know. I know he listens to us quite a bit here. He's up in toward Lexington, Kentucky, in a community called Winchester. It's kind of, what was that show where they were in Winchestersonville or oh God, what was it? Winchestersonville, yeah. So what show was that, Katie? Oh, Mr. Deeds, that's it. Yeah, okay. All right. So that is one. I like that show. That is a really good show. Mr. Deeds is a really good show on how you can be a decent person and have some money too. So with that being said, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with more profit time here on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station. Don't you go anywhere. Tonight we've got our webinar and it is actually open tonight. So you guys listening that may not be involved in the profit circle with us and would like to attend, feel free to do so. Just simply go to our website, profitsareus.com. That's profits, AREUS.com, and you'll see a link to the Profit Circle right there. And join us tonight at 7 p.m. We're going to be talking about my favorite thing, or it ranks right up there with the top two of my favorite things. And we're going to talk about calculating cost per hour of operation for your company. So, and how easy it can be. We're actually going to do some cost sheets and just find out, how easy it can be to take the guesswork out of your bidding forever if you want to. And it's something a lot of people aren't 100% sure about. And in my opinion, you need to be 100% confident in why you charge what you charge. And there's a lot of reasons we give ourselves and a lot of half-ass reasons we give ourselves of why we're doing things a certain way. But there's better ways of doing things a lot of times, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I think regardless of the business that you're in, whether you're in the landscape industry, the irrigation industry, the lighting industry, the dog kennel industry, welding and hydraulic industry, like my buddy Timmy and Robin, I mean, just regardless of industry, you need to understand your cost per hour of operation. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we've actually helped people in all of those industries listed above and more to calculate their costs so they can determine selling price for their goods and services. So if you're interested, feel free to join us tonight at 7 p.m. And we'd love to have you there. We'd love to have you there. So, and hopefully by then you're in out of the heat, right? Yeah, hopefully by then you've called it a day. I know some people will actually, work up to about noon or so and take 3 or 4 hours off and then go back out at 5, 6 o'clock. So, but whatever makes your boat float on getting your work done. I did want to talk a little bit about that for a second here and get your all's opinion on it and how you guys handle the heat. But, something I've found is that, our guys would rather start a little earlier, get done earlier, and, rather than just trudging through and worrying about somebody falling out. I know that happens quite a bit. I mean, what are you really doing to help yourself, whether you're a one truck operation or multi-crew company, it doesn't matter. I just ask you to ask yourself, what are you doing to make life easier during, when you get into a hot time like this? Because this is excessive heat. I mean, it is, regardless of where you're from, whether you're from Florida or New Mexico or Maine. It's excessive heat right now, and you need to take care of yourself. Good morning, Seth. Appreciate you checking in with us, buddy. Glad you're listening here today on Turf Sub Radio, and hopefully you join us tonight in the Profit Circle at 7 p.m. Got a great webinar coming up this evening. But one thing that I found in my years of experience when it comes to production and heat waves and working within them, number one is make sure that you're telling everybody to take breaks whenever they want it, literally, and drink plenty of fluids and not just water. Water's fine, water's good. Daniel's talked about that. But you need to think about it like electrolyte replacements and things like that. So, be sure to do something a little bit better than water. And although water beats a blank, right? I mean, we all know that too. So Craig says they're already creeping in on 100 in Charlotte. They got 89 degrees and heat index at 100 already, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm not sure what our heat index is. I didn't look at it before I hopped on, but let's see. Let me look here real quick and see where we're at. I know we're up there pretty good. So we're up to a feel like 98 temperature, Katie said. So woohoo. So it'll be over 100 in an hour. So, that's where it goes back into what kind of routes, are you having yourself run or your people run when it gets this hot? I know something I found that I've changed over the years and changed it many years ago is rather than giving somebody a big route and saying, get what you can get done, I found we're more successful on shortening the route up and getting that route done. That's just my perception of it. Let's see. Let's see what Doug says here. Doug says, good morning, Wayne. 90, heat index 99 already in Pennsylvania there. So Mike said he would like to argue that it feels like 1,000 degrees outside. And I hear you, man. You like me pulling numbers now, but I hear you. At what point does it just get so hot? It's kind of like when it gets cold. It's hot, and you just like, okay, it's just hot, man. You give up on the fact, and you just say, yeah, it's hot. But getting back to the routing side of it again, I found that your crews will appreciate it, and you will appreciate it psychologically when you hand somebody a list of X number of properties, or maybe it's one property, but what the expectations of the day are going to be. And I think that's important for all of us to realize. And for some of you guys, it's been a long time since I've been in the field, but I still remember what it was like being in the field, working like this. That, when you're looking at a list that's 9 hours or 10 hours of work and you're thinking, oh my God, was it ever going to end? Know that it's okay to lose a little bit of production, but because, the first day, second day, whatever, you may work through it. But when it's going to be an extended period of time, like this one appears to be, going on for several more days, you want to be a little careful about it, and, yep, Mike, that brings up a really good point. I'll talk about that in a second too. But, I think it's a psychological thing when you give somebody a list that's 2 miles long or a job that I mean, even on a good day, it's a 10-hour day or longer. The expectations of that when you leave in the morning at 7 o'clock or 6:30, whatever time your crews are getting out when it's hot like this, you're thinking, oh God, man, I don't know if we're going to get done. Like I said, I've just found we're better off giving a shorter route for the day, let everybody, get the work in, get it done, and, move along with your day and live to fight another day. From a psychological standpoint, I think it sets up absolutely, Seth, uh, safety over production when it gets this hot, because, we've talked about it and most of our show hosts have touched on it, but when it's this hot, things change. And you just got to understand as a business owner, the only people that don't understand in some cases are the customers, that, hey, well, what do you mean you're not out here? Well, it's been 100, feel like temperature 100 degrees on our people since 10 o'clock this morning. By 2:30, 3 o'clock, we're done. That's just it, and, that's just the way we do it. I'm not saying you got to do it that way. And I know there's guys in certain markets that do that way. But, I've been in different markets all over the country, and some of them very hot markets where they have reduced work schedules, when it gets excessive like this. So, there's no pride in watching yourself or somebody fall out, man. It's just my whole point of that. I mean, that's just a reality of it. You get, take care of yourself, take care of your crews, and, then you can take care of yourself and your crews can take care of their customers. That's just the bottom line to the whole thing. So Darren, appreciate you texting in, man, and listening. So, heat's heat, and we're all going to survive it. We're all going to get over it. And at the end of the day, the takeaway that I'd like you guys to know that haven't been doing this long enough, and you don't have enough experience in it, and I don't know how much enough is. I don't know if it's 1 year, 5 years, or 10 minutes. But the reality of it is, you'll, at some point in time, your light will click on for you as well that says, you know what, we need to take things a little bit easier. Know that the bottom line is going to be a little bit different, and accept the fact that that bottom line is going to be a little bit different. And, like I said, the culture that comes behind that, you know, uh, the company culture I'm talking about, the appreciation that you get from your team you'll find is much greater than any profit margin that you may have achieved during the day by pushing, pushing, pushing. Now, we all know there's times when, uh, you got to push, right? I mean, we talk about that as well. There's, times when that's what's got to take place, and you make sure it's happened. Um, but Stephen, exactly. Stephen said, appreciate all the workers, not just lawn care, for working in temperatures hot and cold. Yeah, anybody that's outside. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm addressing it from the standpoint of landscape, irrigation, lighting, whatever it is. But hell, anybody that's outside, you know, uh, it's uh, it's not easy. It's not easy. But what you can do is live to go another day, and doing it smart. And Mike brought up a good point too. Check on people. You know, uh, even people that may not be. You may think, well, they're not outside working, but check with people that maybe it's elderly people that don't have air conditioning, or they've got a window unit in one of their rooms or something. So, I mean, the last thing we all want to do is have something tragic happen. So, we're not making this a Debbie Downer show. That's it on it. But I just know that in 46 years, 46 summers, we've seen summers hotter than this one. Who knows what this is going to end up being? But it sure is starting off pretty toasty. We'll see. It looks like next week, though, we get a little rain in here over the weekend, and potentially a quote unquote cold front rolling through here, and we're going to be into upper 80s and low 90s. So, looks like a little relief might be on the way for us. So that's what we'll do. Yeah, yeah. Irrigation guys might have it easy, man. Once they get it up and running, just turn it on to test it. Right? I hear you. I hear you loud and clear on that. So, with that being said, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back with more profit time here in a second. I might get you to entertain our listeners for about 2 minutes before Kyle Bell's out of here, just for a second,
All right.
so I can holler at him.
What were you talking
If you
about?
don't mind. I was talking a little bit about heat, but what I was going to move along to um, was we're going to talk about subcontractors.
Okay.
Whether you're a subcontractor or not,
Mm-hmm.
because you can be on both sides of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk about it for a minute. But
What I was doing over here was looking up some trivia for the Quip Expo.
already,
Yeah,
expo
let's get some
time.
trivia going. So,
That's always fun.
yeah, I'm looking forward to what was this, year 3 or 4? One of the two of us doing trivia out there.
Minimum of three, and it might be four.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's always a big hit.
yeah, we always get to talk to a lot of people. Um, it's not all directly related to the green industry. So you kind of get people out of that element a little bit. So you can kind of reach a little bit more into like the personality side and like that kind of stuff. Cause when you
Yeah.
just talk about the business, that's great. That's what people are there for. But when we can pull them out of that a little, you kind of get to have some fun and see that
Yes.
angle of the whole thing. So it's cool. We do throw in some industry related trivia, whether it's stats or years and dates or you know stuff about equipment, whatever. So that's fun too. But we like to throw in some general random stuff.
Yeah. That you all get outstanding participation with that.
Yeah,
People,
a lot of people like to do
they
it.
really do like it.
I mean, we get turned down not that much. I mean,
Yeah.
every once in a while, but most of the time it's more often it's a yes, and even some people want to do it again. When we say, "Oh, do you want to do it?" and they're like, "Oh, we've already done it, but we'll do it again."
Yeah.
It's so hard to remember all the people in
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah, and they're walking around and
Yeah.
yeah, it's and it's funny. I mean, the feedback we get on it about how positive it is too.
Hmm.
People appreciating the fact of doing that. But yeah, hammer on that for a second, and I'll be right back with you.
All right, cool. So yeah, just in general, I think talk a few minutes maybe about I'll talk about the Equip Expo, but yeah, it's coming up before you know it, October, I think the 20th in that range. So, if you're not planning on coming out, I recommend it. It's a great event. We're lucky to be right here in Louisville, Kentucky. So that's, like I said, we're just really lucky that it's right here and it's 10 minutes away from our shop. You know, just great. It's awesome to have Turfs Up join us too. King Darren and Eric Jones and Purple Wally, who's pretty close as well, all things considered, compared to a lot of people who come. But um, when we can kind of get together and bring that to those who really just cannot for whatever reason make it, that's a cool opportunity too. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, you've tried it, you can't make it work this year, I definitely recommend you make it work at least one time in your life. But if you can't, tune into Turfs Up Radio. We'll be there. We'll be covering it. We'll be telling you what's going on. We'll be going to the events they have. We'll be talking to the vendors, talking to the biggest and the smallest and everybody in between out there. So it's always a pleasure to get to do that. And really, it's cool to be kind of accepted into. I mean, we all are in the green industry anyway, but for people to just be like, hey, yeah, we'll talk to you. We'll share either our story or what's going on in our booth or whatever. It's pretty cool because we're just, our truly only intention is to share what's going on and educate and elevate. And when people, I think King Darren said it yesterday, we need help helping people. We can't do it alone. And even if we get 10 more show hosts or 50 more or 1,000 more, it's always better to have more help to keep helping. So the bigger we can get, the more people that can get involved in any way, even if it's just one conversation at an expo, that really does go a long way into creating, a bigger web of influence and information and education. So I think just if you are out there and you're listening and you're going to be there, stop by our booth. I'm not sure exactly what our number is going to be. I think we're going to be in the West Wing, I believe is where we're going to be. So stop by. We're, happy to chat with you, get you on the radio if you want, take a picture, whatever. We're there to interact. We're there to be there and spread the word of what's going on. So um, that's kind of what we're doing with Turfs Up. And then, like we were talking about before, as we always do, Katie and I will be roaming the floor. I can't remember how many. I think it was like 18,000 steps one day we got in, walking the floor, going outside, going to the dog thing that I think is a yearly thing, the dog adoption thing that they do, which is really cool too. If you haven't seen that, it's just a bunch of dogs and puppies and stuff. It's a great little relaxation if you're into it. Uh, to just go and hold a puppy or watch them kind of interact with each other. It's really cool, and it's right there of course, in the same building, and you can adopt. And I don't know if you bring it with you. I don't exactly know. I think we talked to the dog adoption people one year, but I can't remember what the exact thing was. But you can adopt from out there. That's the whole mission of it, is to, get the dogs adopted. So if you're looking for a new dog, looking for a little companion, maybe a little mascot for your business, you can go out there and find you one, get you one, and get your new man's best friend or woman's best friend, I guess. So
Woohoo! I am back, Daniel.
back
Thank you,
at
buddy.
it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just Kyle wanted to go over a little something with me before he took off out of here. Seth said he's not typically jealous of another man, but he's jealous of Kyle going to Montana. He said he's going to Colorado in September for an elk hunt and
Ooh.
hit Montana as top of his list.
Yeah.
So,
See
and
you.
he said, safe travels, Kyle.
Have fun. Watch out
And
for
he
the
said,
bears.
thanks. Yeah, get some bear spray.
So
Yeah.
selfie.
My God. Oh, my goodness. But I was watching something last night, actually, on it was game wardens out in Montana.
Yeah, we watch that sometimes.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool show. So, appreciate Seth thinking about Kyle that like that, man. And it'll all be good. It'll all be good. And it's hard to believe we're rolling around to another expo.
Yeah,
I mean,
another year,
just
a couple months away.
it seems like it's a far away, but it's not
Not
far.
really. Yeah, it's
You
what,
know,
about 100 days out or so. I mean, it could be a
yeah,
little bit more than that, but that's
July, August,
pretty close.
September. Yeah, yeah. So be here before we know it, for sure. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about subcontractors a little bit, you guys, and get your all's opinion on it. Uh, let's see. If Kyle sees a bear, tell him to lay to. I don't know. He's going to fix it. It came. It came. You're not text. He probably might have talked it, but we'll see what he was trying to say when it gets here. But yeah, I'll pass that along to him, Mike, and then. And Aaron said, "Do people sub out WLS?" Yeah, we've got some people that we help as well. Chris Kelty, a guy that actually was the originator of this reason I'm talking about subcontractors. We actually, will help them with some things, and so yeah, we generally do not work as a sub, but uh, some of our partners here in our market we do work with. So and we've got quite a few, that work with us. Um, let's see, I forgot and played dad, and when I left the bear, oh my god, oh my god, Mike, I think the sun's affected him. He's telling dad jokes now.
Oh gosh.
So uh, he said, I forgot and played dad. And when I left the bear, knew how to ride a bike without training wheels. I don't know. I think he's been in the sun too long. Mike, take a break. Get you some electrolytes. Get you. What's he need, Daniel, to bring him back quick?
Definitely some electrolytes.
Yeah, definitely get some electrolytes in there. But the reason I wanted to talk about subs and get y'all's opinion on this, seriously, on a more serious note, now, but Chris, a friend of mine, was telling me just the other day that he's got somebody that he works for that owes him $40,000. And I mean, that's a lot of money in anybody's world. I mean, I don't care, Chris has got a good sized company, you've got a good sized company, you know, but $40,000, I don't, regardless of how big your company is or how small it is, it's all relevant, but still 40K is big numbers in anybody's world, or it's a decent number. Let's put it that way. I can hear some of you guys saying, oh, that's no big deal, man. Our AR runs around 100 sometimes. Well, that's cool. Or maybe it runs 300. I don't know what anybody else's is running. But still, my point is $40,000 owed from winter work. And now it's the end of June. I think we can all raise our hand and say he's I hear you, Corey. He's been fair enough in waiting. Corey says for that amount of money we ride at dawn. So I hear you. I mean, that's even though he knows this guy and he's friends, quote unquote friends with this guy, they've known each other for a long time. I think we got to look at, just because somebody's a subcontractor doesn't mean they don't get paid because you don't get paid as the contract holder. I mean, that's really the message with this for me, even talking about this on my show, is, that's just something that needs to be paid. I mean, or that's just my feelings on it. It's not, I'm not going to approach one of my subcontractors and say, well, hey, I haven't been paid yet. Now maybe if it's a week out or 10 days out, or I don't know, I'm trying to think of a scenario where I could maybe justify it, but I really can't. I mean, can you, Daniel? I mean, if you hired me to do something, you said, hey, do the work and I'll pay you, in 10 days or 20 days. I expect payment in that amount of time.
Yeah.
And Chris is an easygoing dude. I'm telling you, he really is, because he's never once hounded us for any money at all. I mean, like you said, though, we pay him, but I mean, there's times when, he may go 14 days or something before we get a check out to him. But I think we need to, we need to think about that. Uh, each and every one of us, if you're utilizing subcontractors or if you are a subcontractor, because you see a lot of it on social media about, especially when it comes, snow season's rolling around and a lot of people take on accounts from national people, that get a national account and then sub it out in all these different markets. You got to think about, what are you going to get paid? And what's the turnaround time on pay? And I know there's a lot of good ones out there, and any of our subcontractors will tell you we pay them, and I'm sure you pay yours. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's right to approach somebody and say, "Well, Daniel, I can't pay you because Miss Smith hasn't paid us."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just not the right thing to do. And I'm curious what your all's thoughts are on that. You know. Friends don't front, Aaron said. I, he said he never fronted anything to any of his guys. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. I can imagine it doesn't matter what world you're in. I think that's something, that we got to think about. And unfortunately, as the business owner, I mean, that's something we got to think about too. We are the last person to get paid. I mean, when you're the owner, and the check's made to your company, you know, you can't do anything till you get paid. But you need to have the resources on hand to not do that to a subcontractor, not to the tune of, $40,000. And Chris was even saying the other day that this guy even told him, he said, well, man, now they're wanting to set up payments.
Mm.
There's no way I would take
That's that's fine if he wants to set up payments with the main people that he's getting paid through, but you still ought to pay your sub.
Yeah,
Or even like if you know that and this shouldn't start in June or whatever, early July, whenever it would start, you should think about this much sooner. But like, hey, I know that this company is going to be hard to work with, or not like I know ahead of time, but I know that based on the last couple of weeks, they haven't been working with me. How about this? I'll pay you installments. How does that work? Instead of stringing somebody along for 40,000, could you
for
do
6 months or
could you
5 months,
how does 10,000 a month, can we do that? Just work with somebody.
something. Yeah. I mean, Corey said it happened to him once. He said the people didn't pay me. So he said he went right to the originator and got paid.
There you go.
That's what I told Chris.
Yeah.
I'd said, I'd just tell, hey man, I need some money, or I'm going to go to these people and tell them they're going to be the ones involved. I mean, that's a big thing, and Corey said, never again, never again. So that was his experience with it. And I don't blame you. I mean, there's no reason you haven't paid somebody something. John, thanks for the text. He said he gets through the heat by listening to Profit Time because it's cool.
There you go.
There we go.
We're cool.
Appreciate that today. Oh my gosh. But let's see. Um, Darren has a good show following us today. The landscape hero. He's going to be talking about.
You get Darren a cape for the expo.
There you go. That's an idea. He'll do it. Yeah.
Big Turfs
Up radio and landscape hero on the back. That'll be cool as hell, Daniel. Yeah, I'm sure he'll run with that idea. Yeah. There you go, Darren. Go ahead and order your cape now. But they'll have time to print it. Don't say they don't have time to print it. Matter of fact, Katie's over there typing it in now. We can probably get it by Friday.
There you go.
Oh my God. But Darren, seriously, he's going to be talking about how you can save or cost your landscape company serious money utilizing payroll services. Absolutely. I'm here to tell you guys, you definitely need to tune into that because the money that you pay for a payroll service and a CPA, when people say how much do they cost, you got the wrong payroll service or you got the wrong CPA when somebody says, what do they cost? It's not what do they cost. It's what do you cost you by not knowing, you know? So, Darren's going to give a breakdown on different pricing, it looks like, compared to the benefits. So you can pick somebody that fits your team based on its size. So he's going to do that after my show today at 11. So be sure to stay tuned into that. See, must be cost day, Daniel. We're going to be talking about cost per hour tonight in our webinar.
Yeah.
We're talking about poor Chris being out 40 grand because the contract wasn't set up right, even though his costs were. That's where I always say your pricing can be in line, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get beat, you know? And, but I'm kind of like Corey on that. I don't think there's anything other than to say, hey, man, we need some money, you know? I would feel so obligated to my subs that I'd go get money off my credit line if I had to. You know, I would. I'd to get them paid. Because what's going to happen is, you know what's going to happen in this situation. Here we are, almost July. Well, before long, they're going to be thinking about snow. And then they're going to be saying, well, can you take care of that account? And if I'm Chris, it's a hard no. It's a hard no. Don't come in October and give me 40K for what I did last January and February or March, whenever it was, or December, whenever the snow occurred. You know, and then, you know, I'm not a prostitute. You know, you're not going to pay me, make me happy, and I'll come back for more. I mean, no, man, it's just wrong in my opinion. And I mean, seriously, few of you guys have voiced your opinion, but you know, let me know. I mean, what do you all think of that situation? How would you handle it, Mike? If you hadn't passed out in the heat, if you've got some electrolytes, you know, let me know. Or Darren, you use a lot of subcontractors. I mean, what would your subs do in that situation? Shoot me a text. Let me know, because I know that it's definitely not right to treat somebody that way. And I just I think it's bothering me more than it's bothering Chris, quite honestly, you know, because he's a good dude. And if you'd say, man, you'd really be worried about trying to jack him over like it, you know, because Chris is a pretty good sized dude, about 6'2" or 3", I'd say. And, you know, definitely if he went to ride, you'd probably listen. But, oh my God, Aaron. He said Chris ought to tell him, yeah, they'll do the snow again, and then night before the storm, tell him he's not. Yeah, that'd be a little pain and suffering consequence, you know. And then, you know, then he'd be perceived as the bad guy. The bad guy. That would might be a little less than professional, but it would be something maybe to do. I don't know. I don't know if I would do it, but I know there's people out there that probably would do it. But anyways, with that being said, we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back to wrap up profit time here on Turfs Up Radio. Crank it up. Yes, indeedy. Daniel, can you believe it's already 11 o'clock almost on hump day?
Almost to the hump of hump day.
Almost, yeah. True that. True that. Just a quick reminder tonight in the profit circle for you guys that are in. You've had your notices Daniel sent out about our webinar on calculating cost per hour of operation and the awesomeness behind that. And we're just going to share the methodology that we've shared in all over the United States and Canada, and thousands of contractors have implemented within their business literally to calculate their break-even points. And that's what guys like about it. We don't tell you what to charge. You know, like you get so much of that on social media, like, oh man, that's 150 an hour, 130 an hour, 300 an hour, whatever. They tell you what to charge. Man, the important thing is what's it cost you to do the job and then sell it for what the market will bear. That is the key to success, is selling at what the market will bear. But and then you may say, well, what's the importance of knowing what it costs? Why is that so important? Well, we're going to answer that question tonight. I mean, it's an obvious answer. You know, I don't think none of us are out there selling below break even on purpose. I did not. I didn't. I didn't do it intentionally. I did it because I didn't know what I didn't know. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight is what can you implement within your business to understand your cost per hour of operation and how to apply that to your bidding system. And regardless of what service you provide, whether you're working as a sub, whether you're hiring subs, whether you're doing all the work yourself, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you understand your numbers. And we've been talking about this since before it was popular, since before there was 9 million people talking about know your numbers or know your cost or, this, that, and the next thing. We've been doing it since 1990. We've been helping contractors throughout North America since 1990 understand the business side of their business better. And that's why we do Turf's Up Radio every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, is because we want to help the industry. We want to help elevate and educate the industry. So, with that being said, I guess Landscape Heroes going to be hopping on here pretty soon. Just got a text from Darren. He said, "Don't go anywhere yet. I got something for you."
Shine the bat signal.
Shine the bat signal. We got to look into that. That would be, how cool would that be, really?
Pretty cool.
I think it would be too. I think you hit a homer with that one, Dental. Hit a homer with that one. We're going to have a great topic Friday for you guys. It's going to be an outstanding truth bomb. Guarantee you guys are going to like it. Darren's asking me to stay on, so we'll stay on here for a little bit, and we'll see what he's got up his sleeve. He said, "Stay on." Absolutely, we will do it. So I don't know, Daniel. How'd your steaks turn out last night? Daniel was the grill master last
Good.
night,
Yeah.
and
I mean, perfectly
was it?
juicy.
How fun was it grilling with it at
It wasn't bad
107
really,
outside?
because it was just flipping them every couple of minutes and didn't stand over it.
Yeah,
So
but
I'd already worked out there, so I mean, after working out in it, just
yeah,
standing in it was fine.
St-
It was refreshing.
yeah. You still working out in your garage to add a
Yeah.
little extra heat to the situation?
Yep.
What's just more sweat on is what you're looking
Just a
for,
little
brother?
more calorie burnage. So
Yeah,
you use the stationary bike out there. Got a few weights out there, so it's pretty fun.
nice.
Really hit me hard yesterday. The last 3 or 4 minutes were pretty tough. Just to kind of,
How
that
long
was the
did you
cool
go?
down of it. I did probably 30 minutes of weights and then about 20 minutes of bike.
Yeah.
So,
So how far are you going 20 minutes on a bicycle?
I didn't look yesterday, but I think based on the other day with my 30
That's a
minute
pretty
ride,
good
I went
ride, isn't
about
it?
8.5 miles.
Yeah.
So depends kind of how I'm riding. If I'm doing like steady and like at 16 or 17
Yeah.
miles an hour, if I'm doing like burst of like 30-second burst of like 20, 22, like 22, 23 miles an hour, and then kind of back down to 17. That depends on the work that I'm doing, but somewhere in like the 7.5 to 9-ish range is pretty typical for
I got
30
you.
minutes. So
I know. I hadn't been going to therapy for a while now. They've released me from that, but then my others. But Seth, yeah, man, I've Seth said any vacation since you're not doing the lake this year, Wayne. Yeah, we're planning sometime in July, later part of July, going out west. Actually, uh, several of us, 5 of us, are getting together on that, and I'll keep you up to date on that, man. So it seems like Go West, young man, or whatever that thing was. Or, but let's see what you got. Oh my God, Darren. Yeah, that's all right, Darren. Yeah, no E on it, man. Just VOLZ. He spelled my name wrong, but look, he's got this superhero,
It's probably
the Prophet.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Oh my God.
that looks pretty good.
But
There you go.
there you go. Sky's the limit. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to hop off here and make room for the world famous King Darren Gruner as he's going to talk to you guys about saving money by implementing utilizing and implementing a payroll system for your company. So, with that being said, we appreciate you guys and we'll see you on Friday. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you next time.